Hello, welcome to another episode of the ARU Startup Podcast. My name is Omkar Singh, Student Enterprise Officer at Anglia Ruskin Enterprise Academy, ARU. And today we have our guest speaker, Nelson Adeoti, with us, who is, I would say, a recent graduate, a very recent graduate, 2014. Um, and I've got so Nelson Adeoti completed a bachelor's, is it Bachelor's of Arts?
Yeah.
Bachelor's of Arts with us in Business Management in 2014 in Cambridge, and will be and has been recently featured on the Alumni of the Month in July this year. He owns two companies. Nine Bills is one of the company that he has co-founded, and also the OFFBEAT, which we will be talking more in detail in this podcast. And he's very ambitious, as you can see, and he's got two companies here managing together. So, firstly, I just want to, because I was reading through your profile, Nelson, you have an ARU degree with 2-1 in dissertation on brand endorsement using social media. So that sparked my curiosity, and I just want to know more about how's your student experience in Cambridge at ARU, and how it feels to be different to be on campus today. So just take us through your student journey with your academic life. How was it back then?
Firstly, thank you for inviting me here. It's definitely a pleasure and honor after 10 years since graduating at ARU to be on the podcast, like sharing my experience and stuff. So thank you for that. In terms of actually studying here, for me, it was actually quite difficult because I didn't realize how expensive Cambridge is as a city, especially as a student. So coming in, my student loans couldn't cover my rent. So that was like the initial challenge. In terms of academically, I was pretty average, going through school and stuff. And I didn't actually search for unis. I just went to my sixth form student advisory board, and I was like, oh, I want to go to uni. Like, what uni should I go to? And they were like, this one. And I was like, all right. So that's how I ended up in Anglia Ruskin in Cambridge, studying business. It was like very theoretical, so it wasn't like you learn something and you can go and apply it. And I think my way of learning is I struggle with like hypothetical things. I like to like see someone who's doing it and then copy, or learn a concept and then apply straight away. So uni was okay overall. I think my first year was like everyone's first year, very carefree. Then second year I had to like buckle down a bit more. I remember that first semester I failed all my exams.
You failed all
Yeah.
exams. Okay.
No, I didn't fail all of them. I remember failing like two. I think it was like two that I failed.
Okay.
I phoned my mum and I was like, Mum, I'm going to quit uni. I don't want to do it no more. I can't do it. But somehow, by God's grace, I was able to pass and go to the third year. And interestingly, out of all my friends that we came to uni together, they had to like resit. They weren't able to like continue to the third year. So in my final year, I had to like make new friends. And, my friends, Kate and Annika, they were like a godsend because they really understood how I worked. So they'll come to me to my house in the morning, Nelson, let's go to the library. And I'd be with them like 9 in the morning till like 4 or 5, which is like, now if you want to do whatever you want to do, you can, because you've done the work, and again, touch wood, by God's grace, I was able to hand in my dissertation before it was even due, which was a big achievement for me. Like going through the whole of uni, I was always like there on the deadline, typing and trying to submit.
Yeah. So was it 3 years you spent here at ARU, and then after that you went to back home, or you were still in Cambridge?
No, I went back home. So throughout my time in Cambridge, I was playing football. I played for a few of the teams. Obviously, I played for like ARU's first team, and then for teams around Cambridgeshire, I played for Ely and Newmarket Town.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. Yeah.
So I got offered like some trials and stuff, but again, without having like money or kind of like support to be able to stay in Cambridge, I had to go home. I couldn't commute from where I was living back to Cambridgeshire for these trials.
Yeah.
So that kind of like ended my football career, if you can call it that.
So you no more following the football anymore, just as a thing that you still not following?
Yeah, I still enjoy sports. I like watching football. I've been to like lots of different countries to watch football. So I still follow the sport, but I don't play as much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, that's interesting to know. So, during your time at ARU, and you said you mentioned about dissertation. So, was that dissertation the beginning of your entrepreneurship journey? Because that's what your bio was somewhere
Yeah,
slightly hinting
yeah,
towards.
definitely, definitely. I think the dissertation actually helped me get my first job, but more practically, the fact that I finished my dissertation and handed it in before it was due, we sat down, I think we had a drink, and we thought, and I was at Kate's house. Her dad owns a printing company, so she brought the binding machine to her
Yeah.
house, and so she bound our dissertations, and we handed it in. And I was like, oh, this could be a business opportunity here. Like, what if we bind people's dissertations like,
Oh,
on the deadline day?
okay.
So she was like, "Oh, we're allowed to do that." And I was like, "You just did our one. You know, ours is done, and they've accepted it." So
Hmm.
I went to the, I can't remember what it's called, but like the office where you hand in your dissertation, and I asked them, I was like, is this like the standard? Like, if people hand in this dissertation, would it be accepted as fine?" And they're like, "Yeah, no problem." So I was like, "Bring in your binder. We'll sit in the open access, which is like where all the latecomers do their work." And when they're done, they can just bind their dissertation there and then go and hand it in. So we turned up, and we'd already been used to waking up early and, like I said, coming to the library and stuff. So it was just like a normal day. We've already handed in our stuff. There's no pressure for us. I was like, "You just sit here, and I'll do the marketing and bring people." And there was a point where we had, our queue was longer than the queue to actually do the official binding. So like that day, I think we made like £500 or something, which at the time was a lot of money
Of course,
for one
yeah.
day, and just between Kate and myself, which was, yeah, that was like my first business.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So, do you naturally think like that? You identify an opportunity and just go for it, or is it something you got through practice, or you have
No,
been?
I think it's something natural. I think it's something natural because when I finished uni as well, um, I knew like the realistic thing is I need to get a job to have money, and obviously having 3 years of not really having money, that was like important to not be poor or not struggle. But I've always had like an entrepreneurial spirit, thinking about, you know, what problems can we solve, what opportunities are there. So at the
Hmm.
time, my dad had a house that he was renting out, but my dad moved abroad, so he left the house with like his friend to look after it, but she lives far away, so she wasn't really able to be on top of it as much as she would have liked to. So me, I was like 20 or 21. I was like, "Oh, Dad, I can do it." And
Hmm.
then that's how I became a landlord. So
Oh.
I like helped refurb the place, found like tradespeople to paint and clean, and I bought
Yeah.
beds and stuff, and
Yeah.
I re-rented it out to like teachers, so they were like responsible people. I knew they had jobs, and that worked out well for like a good 2 years. We were looking after my dad's property until he was able to sell it, and even that I was helping with, like speaking with the estate agents and helping to sell that. So it was like some pocket change for me, and
Yeah.
a good experience in property.
It makes sense how you have now managing two businesses now, from your thinking process from back you're 21, and then utilize the opportunity when you're at a university, and then now you have got two companies, and at the age of very early
31.
31.
Yeah.
So, which is brilliant, of course. So also, just because you mentioned about the job, were you on doing some part time as well in Cambridge when you're
Yeah.
studying?
So my first job, I have to give a shout out to my friend Moses. Moses has been like a blessing in my life. Like, he got me a job at Shoe. So Shoe's like, I don't know if it's still here, but like just a shoe shop. I worked
Okay.
there just on Sundays and like occasional Wednesdays or Thursdays. It was like one day in a week,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Sunday was like my
Yeah.
main day. But I had a car at the time, and I don't know why I had a car, to be honest. Like, I think it was a bit of an ego thing because Cambridge is not really a good city to
Yeah.
drive in.
Yeah.
But I had a car, and being a young driver, it's expensive to do insurance and
Mm.
whatever.
Mm.
So again, having the job didn't really help. It just paid for my car, so I had to get another job. So I ended up having two jobs, one in Shoe and then at Hollister.
Yeah.
I don't know if Hollister's still there, but I used to work nights at Hollister and then days in Shoe, and then like do uni in between that. So that was my first kind of working experiences.
Yeah, that's interesting. And just going back to the dissertation work that you did on brand endorsement, was it
Mm.
using social media?
Yeah.
So what was that about?
So again, it comes from like a place of passion. Like like it was from football. So you see, Cristiano Ronaldo was like the big poster boy for Nike at the time, and it was the dissertation, if I remember correctly, was speaking about how they use people to embody their values. So rather than you see, they're not selling benefits or features. So like people always use Apple as an example. Like when the iPod came out, they didn't say it has 5 gig of memory on the iPod, so you should buy it. It said like 1,000 songs in your pocket. So it's like you're selling the benefit. But with brand endorsements, when that's like a product, when you're selling a product and using a person, you see Cristiano Ronaldo, you see success, you see dedication, you see talent, you see flair, confidence, all these things. You can tell I love Cristiano Ronaldo. But you see all those things and you associate it with Nike because he's always wearing Nike. He has a lifetime deal there. So it was talking about how brands can use people who have strong personas or strong identities to then associate that with their brand. And you do that through social media. And like Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi, they come up at a time when Instagram was like new. So they were like the first kind of influencer sports people. Now every footballer has hundreds of thousands of followers, but before it wasn't commonplace. A lot of the footballers didn't have personalities. They just answered the game, oh yeah, we had a good game, good to get 3 points, we won, nice. But like Cristiano's doing adverts, and you know, they had adverts before, but you didn't know the people. So like Ronaldinho was like early with the Nike Jogger Bonito, for people who are in sports. But yeah, that's what the dissertation was about, mainly speaking about Nike. They did like Jordan as well. So they were like the kind of pioneers in brand endorsements, like associating personalities with the brand.
No, that's interesting to learn about. So the reason I asked that, because you said that inspired you to go into entrepreneurship, and did you just immediately after your university found Nine Bills? So one of the companies that it is about in culture and events. So would you like to tell more about that, please?
Yeah, so Nine Bills initially wasn't a business. It was like a theme page, like a music theme page. So I was doing an internship in a marketing company, basically managing our company's social media accounts. So I wanted to create my own social media account where I can practice doing things, as opposed to like making mistakes on someone else's account. I can make a mistake on my account and there'll be no consequence. So I thought, what am I interested enough to do like for free, and what can I talk about that doesn't require like specialist knowledge? So to a larger extent, music is very subjective. So if you like something, it doesn't mean it's good, and if you don't like something, it doesn't mean it's bad. It's just your personal opinion. So I started like that, blogging. I created a website and was just like tweeting about music I liked, music I didn't like, just general trends. And yeah, that's how it started. It wasn't really for business. There was no like end goal. It was just to learn. I always call it like a sandbox. So like somewhere you can play and not hurt yourself. So that's how I started Nine Bills. And
so was it in 2015 or?
Yeah, around that time. So once I finished.
After your university finished, okay. And then when you thought this is going to be now a business?
For a long time, I struggled with trying to monetize it. So when I was building a following, I had maybe like 8,000 or 10,000 followers on Twitter. I started getting inquiries from artists and from record labels to have like paid placements on the website and on social media, but it wasn't like enough money to quit your job. So I was always trying to find ways like, how can I have more of these, and ultimately it didn't really result in any kind of meaningful income. So I carried on working. I had different jobs. I stayed at the first place for like a year and a half. Then I moved into government, working in communications, still going to events and talking about music. Essentially, I started recruiting more people who are just interested in music as well, to become contributors to the website and on socials as well. But in terms of it actually becoming a business, it didn't become a business until about 18 months ago. Yeah, no, 2 years ago. So my last job was September 2022, and now we're October 2024.
Yeah.
So 2 years ago, I did shout Shani Miz. Shani does a program called the Elephant Room. So the Elephant Room is a company, and they do a program called 1 Month Mentors. So it's for people who are like taking their first steps into like creative industries. So I've always done creative stuff and made like small money, but I've always had a full-time job, so the money didn't really matter. But there are people out there who do, you know, full-time run magazines, who are journalists, who are photographers, who are, you know, creative disciplines. So I did the 1 month mentorship program. I was probably one of the older people to do it. I think 28 or 27 or something. To just learn from people who are full-time in creative disciplines, and then think, okay, how can I in this space create value and make like meaningful money like that's enough to not do many other things, I guess, which was an interesting experience.
Yeah. So you said your last job was 2 years ago, which was
Yeah.
not very long back.
Yeah.
And then you started this 2015 this business. So the time between around when you started this business up, did you find any challenges? I'm sure you are occupied with jobs and other work. So what were the key challenges you faced while you were setting this business up into that route?
What, like from 2015?
Yeah, particularly when you're trying to monetize the business at that point.
It was about volume, really. So it's like if you get £100, for example, for an advert.
Yeah.
If you're not getting that 3 times a day, you're not making enough money to warrant quitting your job. Do you know what I mean? Because like at the time as well, when I was working, I enjoyed where I was working. I liked my team. I liked the work we were doing. I liked that I was learning, so I was going on courses, and it didn't really cross my mind that I need to scale this so I can leave my job. Because a lot of people, when they think about business, they're like, oh yeah, it's going to be freedom, and you can do what you want, and you can work on things that you love, and work will never feel like work, and these type of magical statements that people make. But I enjoyed my job, and I made the most of it during that time. So there wasn't really like a pressure or like struggle. I think if there was any issue, and something I'm better with it now, but like a bit of imposter syndrome. So like when record labels are messaging me, I'm like, why are you messaging me? Like, you guys are the experts. I just have a job, and I just have a Twitter page. And it does, like, you don't need to message me to pay me for stuff. So that was a bit of a mental hurdle that I had to overcome. But over time, 2015 to now, that's a long time of tweeting or creating content. And I think as of today, you can ask like most record labels in like black music, they will know about 9 Bills, and they'll like respect it as like a media outlet that you'd want your music to be posted on there. So
what you said, events, and there is a culture aspect of this 9 Bills as well. So what is that about?
So culture is defined, it's like it has a very loose definition. It could be painting, arts, sports, events, just anything that, food, anything that that contributes to the like black British identity is the way I imagine it. So there are lots of people who I kind of grew up with, or who are at uni the same time as me, who have contributed a lot to culture. So for example, there's like Recess is like an events company, and the guy who runs it, we used to go to his parties when we was at uni, and now it's like a massive national thing, and it's like covering that type of stuff, going to it, making videos on Instagram stories, and just like raising awareness and being part of it. That's the culture. So that's the way I describe it anyway. And we did some events as well. We did events, and the last one that we kind of led on properly was before lockdown. But up to that, we were doing events at like the Curtain, which is a members club, and we had artists come perform, DJs, game shows. It was like building something.
Was this in London or
this was in London?
London,
yeah.
okay.
This was in London. So yeah, that's culture.
And also the one of the great achievements you have recently done was the red carpet interviews, at the awards. So want to say more about that?
Yeah. So at the MOBOs, it actually wasn't my idea. It was James. I won't take credit for that. But James works for me, and he was like, "Oh, do you reckon we could do interviews at the MOBOs?" And I was like, "Yeah, we can do anything." And that's the kind of like mindset I have now. And I have to like remind myself that, because when people are asking, especially like staff, and he's young, he's like 21, so like 10 years younger than me. He's like how I was,
Okay.
So he's asked me stuff, And I have to say, yes, of course we can do it. You know, because if I don't believe it, how will he believe it? So at the time, I wasn't actually sure if we'd be able to do it, but I was like, yeah, let's ask for press accreditation. And we're there. Next to us is BBC, Channel 4.
Oh, wow.
Do you know what I'm saying? They have
Incredible,
they had our names on the floor and stuff, like a proper place for us to do interviews. We did an interview with Specs, who's like an internet personality. It has like 1.1 million views. So
Claps
yeah,
for
big
that.
success.
Yeah,
Thank you.
well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and then so now what your next things are, particularly when you have done something like award functions and such a big level. So now you're thinking, you must be thinking at a very grand level now.
Yeah. So I have Emily who works for me as well. She does like press and partnerships.
Okay.
And we had a call the other day, and it was like, where would be like a crazy thing, you know, if you saw me on Forbes, you'd be like, whoa,
Yeah.
that's crazy. Do you know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah.
it's blue sky thinking is the way I try and approach it. And so it's like, it could be in a magazine,
Of
or
course,
Forbes, or just somewhere that's like, wow, that was sick.
Yeah. I mean,
That's the goal.
that's what we say here at area. You know, at ARU we say, think big.
Yeah.
It's just think big to what you want to achieve. But then you went on co-founding another business.
Yeah.
So again, is it complementing each other, or
Yeah,
is it
definitely.
completely standalone?
No, they complement each other. So kind of linking back to the question you said before about monetizing. When I first started the kind of Twitter page, there wasn't many pages covering like music and culture. So I think it was I'm Just Bait and Abdi TV. So shout out them guys. I know Ant's from I'm Just Bait, and he's been doing it for a long time. So outside of that, there wasn't really many pages that were getting good interaction and good engagement and like a good community talking about music. But fast forward to when I eventually took the leap to say, okay, I want to do music marketing. I want to do something in music and culture as my business. There's many pages like that now. So, and they're young, they have a lot of time, they're, you know, on the pulse. So it's like they can do the like news better than I can. I don't want to compete with someone who I know can do it better than me, because ultimately I don't know what their like life circumstances are. I don't have like many commitments, but I do have a house and like bills and a car, and I live by myself. So I don't work. I can't live, right? So it's difficult to then put lots of time into something that can maybe present income, you know. So like if you're getting ads and stuff and it's not consistent, the time put in is definitely consistent. You have to. So that kind of helps me spark the idea of like how I'm gonna capitalize in this new climate, this new market. So I know record labels would reach out to 9 Bills to do promos, so they must reach out to other pages to do promos. So essentially, having run the page for a long time, I know the people who look after and run the other pages. So I just speak to them and say, I'm gonna pitch us as a group to the record label, and I'll add like a management fee to do that. And then that's
you're identifying opportunity everywhere you go. So that's a quite unique thing that you're doing. So so you see a lot of individual, you know, independent pages that you're working, and then you're trying to group them at that, and then, you know, that's what you call the mindset, the entrepreneurial mindset. You know, everywhere you're trying to find the opportunity. But then you're also involved in mentoring. You know, the Black Business. Is it something related to?
Yeah. So
business as well?
I'm a mentee. So I'm not mentoring. Yeah.
So you are a mentee there.
Yeah. So I have 2 mentors.
Okay.
Martin and Fone, who've been like really helpful and like good to kind of like bounce ideas around. Fone is really good with like best practice stuff. Like she gives you by the book, like here's how businesses should scale and, you know, cut costs and whatever. And Martin, who essentially like runs a company, like a consultancy, comes, if we speak about things from like experience, he's like I don't want to say a lot older than me, but he's older than me. You know, he's got kids who are like 20, so but he comes from like a space of like experience. And through the Black Business Residency, they give you a working space, or have like an office space in Somerset House, which is kind of like a respected institution.
Yeah.
So yeah, I worked there, and that started in February. So it's
So still there.
I'm still there now. Yeah.
So is it helping in your business and leadership activities?
In business, I think it's definitely good to have like an actual space to work.
Mm.
So like my team can come and work there, and then there's other businesses who are in that same building as well. So
Yeah.
having professional connections. Then they also have like workshops. So
Yeah.
one of the more helpful workshops that I've been to was how to apply for funding.
Yeah.
So it's like doing a funding application, a business case, these type of things. So definitely there's theoretical things, but also a lot of practical things that you can take on board there and then and actually apply to your business.
Yeah. And what's the team looking like in both the companies that you're looking after?
So with Offbeat is essentially like the same thing, but I just don't want it to come under Nine Bills, because Nine Bills is like editorial and music,
Yeah.
and Offbeat is just like marketing. It's just like a service. So my team kind of work across both. So there's 4 of us. There's like 5 of us, including me.
Yeah.
Social media manager, marketing executive, editorial, like website publishing, and then PR and partnerships, and that's our team.
Oh, that's brilliant. So how do you manage both the businesses? I mean, because now you're saying they both are complementing and they both are part each other. So are you able to manage them in your time, or do you take weekend breaks, or you just straight on work?
No, I'm always working. Yeah,
Yeah, always working.
Yeah, because like music is not it's not like a 9 to 5 job. You know, like songs come out at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
So the lead up to that is always something. There's always something afterwards. Things happen on the weekends and the evenings. So it's difficult. I'm still coming to terms with like how to manage a schedule and say, all right, cool. After this time, I'm not working anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's my business.
Yeah.
If I don't work, who will work?
Yeah. So how do you balance then? How do you balance the schedule?
Right now, I wouldn't say there's too much balance. I'm working a lot, like most of the days, and most of the time of the days. So I'm still working on that. But I'm planning to take like a good amount of time off once everyone is comfortable working without my like guidance. Then yeah, I'll have like 2 or 3 or 4 days and not do any work.
Yeah. So do you take holiday breaks?
No.
No. Okay. Because you're managing these 2 companies, and you're too young now. You got these companies now working. So what's your plan for future? The blue sky thinking. What's your blue sky thinking?
My blue sky thinking is to get a record deal, to get a record label deal. Because at the moment I work with a lot of upcoming artists, helping them to promote and publish their music. I'm working in terms where I own some of the IP, so so it generates revenue, and then if you're generating enough revenue, you can say, look, this is my platform, this is our history, this is the revenue that we're already generating, and then we can get a label deal and an advance and support with marketing and these type of things. So, but overall for the business, it's like enjoying the journey. You know what I mean? Because when you look over most things, it's not predictable. There's like one aha moment that changes everything.
Yes.
So rather than planning and over planning, oh, this is what's, you know, once I do this and then do this and then do this and do this, then eventually I'll get somewhere. It's like each day should be rewarding and enjoyable, and you learn something or teach something, and then, you know, as long as you keep doing the best things, hopefully luck's on your side.
Yeah. No, wish you all the best for that.
Thank you.
So as we're now coming to a conclusion, before leaving us today, do you have any advice for the students or the recent graduates who are aspiring to be an entrepreneur?
I think I hate giving like cliche advice here, but stay teachable, stay humble, and never think that you know everything. So I think if you're an entrepreneur and you're starting a business, and you probably have an idea and how you want to, you know, scale your business or make money, but then seek advice from mentors, seek advice from peers, and try everything. It might not work, but that's what I would do, and that's what I did. And get in there.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us today, and it was really great speaking to you and knowing your journey. And I think you have got a long journey to cover in coming future. for which we wish you all the best for that.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for joining
Thank
today.
you. If anyone's interested in music and culture,
Yeah.
follow 9bills.
9bills, yes.
Yeah.
Follow 9bills. Is it on Instagram? Everywhere?
Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook.
Facebook, everywhere. That's everywhere. So follow 9bills and get to know Nelson more and stay connected. Are you on any platforms that?
Yeah, so like
can connect with you?
LinkedIn, Nelson Adeoti. Instagram is entrepreneurs. So like
Entrepreneur. Oh, that's interesting. So yeah, if you want to get more entrepreneurship advice and keep
Yeah.
watching the space, so Nelson social media accounts.
There
But
you go.
yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you
Cheers,
so
man.
much for joining us today. And this was Sam Karsing signing off. Thank you.